Now, the way I'm teaching you this, ladies and gentlemen, there's a number of different ways that you can approach the strategy, but I'm teaching you the approach that I've learned over 20 years. And what I've learned, ladies and gentlemen, is you keep milking the cow. So a lot of people would say, well, if your shares have gone down, don't write the call because you risk getting exercise at a loss, yes? Okay, I say keep writing the calls. Because every time you don't write the call, you're losing 2%. Every time you lose 2% is that 2% that can go back to pay the loss. If the share comes up and you're at 2 or 3% above anyway, you pick up that capital growth and you get the 2% from the share. So my strategy says no matter what happens, keep milking the cows. The only time we don't milk is when? No cows, no milk, but there's a particular reason when we might not milk the cows. A dividend month when the dividend and the franking credits are better for us than the premium. Over time, the extra premium that you gain by doing this, which is continuously milking the cows, should offset any capital erosion that you'd get by holding onto the share. So quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, standing in front of you, hand on heart, I wish that I had kept every single share that I owned and kept writing calls on it. I didn't. I moved a fairly substantial proportion of my portfolio to cash because, you know, I've been hanging out with financial planners lately and that's what they tell you to do. And I wish I hadn't. Because the portfolio that I moved to cash underperformed the portfolio that I kept in the market. It didn't underperform it because of some sort of genius of stock selection or anything like that. It underperformed it because 2% every month, keep milking those cows, paid me back my losses, and now I'm in front. Hand on heart. I wish that I'd kept every cent that I had in the share market and kept writing those calls. So how do we physically write the calls? So we own our share BHP. We simply get the quotes from our broker. Pick up your phone, ring your Freeman Fox broker and ask him what the prices are. If you don't want to do that, you can go onto the ASX website, www.asx.com.au/derivatives. Now it's 20-minute delayed, and 20 minutes means a lot in the options market. It may not mean a lot in the share market, but prices in the options market can fluctuate a lot. But that's the easiest way to do it. You simply work out the return on investment for your available options, and this allows you to pinpoint the best opportunities. You might choose to simply go for the highest amount of premium. You might choose to be a little bit more conservative and buy a share that is a little bit less volatile, but gives you still a reasonable premium. Or you might decide to get defensive and buy shares that are pretty stable, but give you low premium. Or if you've got the money to do so, you can choose diversify all of them. Now, quite frankly, most of you in this room won't have sufficient money to diversify, so you've got two choices. Either buy the small cows or invest in the Move Fund and we'll trade the strategy on your behalf. Because if you pool your $5,000 with everybody else who's pooling the $5,000, that enables us to diversify across the portfolio. You select an option that expires at the end of the month. We do this for two reasons. The first and obvious reason you should know, and that is because if we do it every month, we get lovely monthly cash flow. The second reason is because a written option is a time-decaying entity. Now, you don't have to really understand this, but the closer it gets to expiry, the less that option's worth. So in actual fact, time decay, as it's called, is working for us. And 1 month out or 3 weeks out from the end of the expiry is the maximum where the maximum decay starts kicking in. So that time value actually works for us when we're writing calls. So but the obvious reason we write it once a month is it's cash flow. We get paid. Place your order with a broker to write your calls, and that's very easy to do. Let's say that you've got 10,000 XYZ shares, and you want to write out-of-the-money calls, and an out-of-the-money call is where the exercise price is above the current share price for the next month. The current market price for XYZ is $24.86. Now, we've got to add that 2% on top of it. Why? Because if we get exercise, we're going to have to buy back in, and that's our brokerage cost. So the minimum strike price we're looking for is $25.35. Now, in this share, it would go up in increments of 50 cents. So in this case, we're looking to write the $25.50. So if we write a $25.50 call, that is giving somebody else the right to buy our XYZ shares at what price? $25.50 on or before the end of the month. You following? Okay, we've bought them at $24.86. So the difference between $24.86 and $25.50 is called, starts with P, ends with ROFIT. That's profit minus your brokerage. Your instruction is very simple, and this is the exact instruction that you would say to the brokers, the exact words. Now, to be quite honest, our brokers are very experienced with this, and they're very experienced with dealing with novices. So you don't have to get it 100% right, because they're not a general broker. They're not taking calls from somebody buying and selling shares, buying and selling options, trading this, trading that. They're taking calls from people just like you every day who are doing exactly the same thing as you. So when you ring up and say, I've got BHP and I want to sell a writer thingo, Hubilop, 48 billion contracts, but they're not going to make a mistake. Well, they do sometimes make mistakes, but they've got a pretty good chance of not making a mistake because they're not just experiencing you ringing up and giving them an order. They know what you're trying to achieve. So even if you bungle a little bit, they're going to come back and say, do you really want to sell naked puts, or were you really trying to do a covered call on BHP? Yeah, I think I'll take B, thank you, Eddie. Lock in covered call on BHP. So they're very, very experienced with this. They're very experienced in dealing with novice traders, and they're doing the same strategy with dozens of clients a day. So they'll help you. They'll know when you've got it wrong, and they'll correct you.